FEMA has had personnel stationed in Puerto Rico since before Hurricane Irma through Hurricane Maria. We have been on site for weeks and continue to work with the governor. With our partners, we continue to conduct 24-hour operations, aggressively conducting search and rescue operations, bringing additional search and rescue, essential commodities, food and water to the islands, restoring power at hospitals, ports, airports, and other critical facilities. There are thousands of federal staff from FEMA, Department of Defense, and other federal agencies in Puerto Rico and in the U.S. Virgin Islands supporting those governors in response and recovery. While significant progress has been made, the full recovery on the islands will be long, but we will be with them through the recovery. As access to ports, airfields, and roads continues to open, which it is not very open yet, more resources will continue to flow into the hard-hit areas. We continue to stand with the people of Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands and remain 100% committed to our full response and recovery efforts. The President is fully committed and has brought the Cabinet together for a full federal response in supporting Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands. I'll turn it over to Administrator Long.
Thank you, ma'am. So the objectives are continue to be clear. Take care of people and stabilize the situation and do everything that we can to sustain life. So as the Secretary said, we've had a large force on the island since before Irma, and we're continuing to bolster and grow that force. This is a logistically challenging, very unique event that the United States hasn't seen in a very, very long time, if ever, because you have to remember that not only did Irma come through and create quite a bit of damage and destruction that we were working to repair, but Maria was 1 mile per hour away from being a Category 5 storm, give or take 1 mile per hour from being a Cat 5, one of the strongest storms that Puerto Rico's seen since the 20s. And let's face it, the infrastructure is weak, and there were no building codes, and so there is a lot of devastation, and we understand that. Here's the other major challenge that we face. It's an island. We don't just drive trucks and resources onto an island. So with the damage, you had extensive damage to the air traffic control systems, which meant sequencing life safety flights into the area, into the one airport that we could get open, San Juan, initially, is incredibly difficult. So you have to prioritize who accesses the island and what you're sending. So what we did on top of the forces that we already had in Puerto Rico was to continue to sequence those flights. First, take command and control of the airport to make sure that we can get the flights in, but then sequence those in of life-saving commodities, meals, water. Right now we have over 4 million meals on the island, for example. We also have like 6 million liters of water on the island, which we are working to distribute. But the bottom line is that not only do you have to take control of the airport and stabilize the situation, today we also opened up Roosevelt Road to increase the flights that we can get in. We're working to open up another airport in Aguadilla to also continue that. That does a couple things. It alleviates the commercial, being able to get commercial flights out of San Juan, but it also increases the capacity of us to be able to get life-saving, life-sustaining teams and commodities in. If you're going to Puerto Rico right now, it should only be for a life-sustaining, life-support mission, because everybody that's trying to get in that's not supporting that is getting in the way, okay? Now, the next thing that has to happen is that we're dramatically increasing the federal footprint that's there. We are mobilizing our partners in the DOD. We're putting forward a very robust sustainment force of thousands of people that are mobilizing as we speak to come in to increase emergency communications, fuel distribution. They'll be also helping us to make sure that we can transport safely and securely the fuel, the food, the water to the areas that we need to get to. We do understand that there are some areas that are still isolated. We've been conducting airdrops. There have been numerous search and rescues that are taking place. We have over 10 task force already operating not only in Puerto Rico, but we can't forget our partners over in the Virgin Islands. So we're also working that event as well. So we continue to stabilize the situation. The other challenge that we face is that unfortunately, because of the severity of the hit, there is diminished capacity of local governments and the state governments to be able to respond, similar to what we saw with Texas and Florida. So therefore, it is requiring us to push forward a lot of resources, including the USS Comfort, which is on the way. You can't mobilize ships and just send them in because there has to be port space, the port has to be safe. There's all types of things that we have to bring in. So the federal government is working tirelessly around the clock to unify the efforts to support Governor Rosselló as well as Governor Mapp with the initiatives that are taking forward.